I have no preconception of what I'd like you to be or do, nor any desire to foresee you, only to discover you. This is part of a quote I read last year or over a year ago, and I kind of modified it because, I wanted to tailor it to me personally and specifically. But when I read this quote, I felt it captured something I've been wanting to say for a while at the time. And I immediately took note of it and I saved it. I also wrote it down multiple times because, I think for another person to hear those words is very freeing, perhaps, because most of us tend to have this sort of, I guess, this subconscious, or maybe more or less conscious, I guess, idea or preconception, like I just said, that we have to perform a certain way in order to be liked by people. And I guess it's a normal thing because, we all like to feel included sometimes, or at least to feel like we're part of something bigger and, not singled out in something. But, I think this quote reveals that in a lot of us, we have this fear of being ourselves. Oops, sorry about that. We have this fear of being ourselves and showing our authentic parts of ourselves to other people, because we might fear disappointing them or just not being valued anymore in the space we are. Or, like I said, the fear of judgment. But anywho, that wasn't the entire quote. Quote, I don't know, I wrote this down this way, so this is probably not even really close to that original quote, except that one line. It goes, "Nothing you become or do will make you hate you. I have no preconception of what I'd like you to be or do, nor any desire to foresee you, only to discover you. So you can't disappoint me by being yourself." And that's what I wrote. That's something I wanted every person in my life, like every person that I met from that moment on and connect with in the future, to kind of have this in mind when being around me, because I'm someone I value and appreciate when someone shows me their authentic parts of themselves and is more authentic with me. I do not like when people feel they need to hide something or feel ashamed of expressing themselves, being true to themselves. And I also think saying this to another person can take off that weight of, trying to be liked or, accepted into a certain group or whatever, or even just by another human being, like friends or something. And also, another thing I added to this quote was that I don't expect you to be perfect or anything, because frankly it's impossible. And I know I didn't add that. I hope this isn't confusing, but actually there's so much I have to say, but I don't know where to start. But that's okay. I think we should normalize this. Why? You ask me why? Because, like I said, it takes off that weight of having to perform and be perfect all the time. Or, it's impossible. We know that. Nobody's perfect. Oh my gosh, this brings me to another point. When people say everyone is perfect, it actually, not as much as back then, but it kind of irks me, like in the wrong way, because nobody's perfect. And saying everybody's perfect the way they are is also completely wrong. Okay, maybe it's just because I like to take stuff, like words, especially perfect, literally, because perfection is pretty much an unattainable standard for life and also for human beings, because we are imperfect. We are naturally and inherently imperfect. Or we could say, you could say we are perfectly imperfect. I think that would make sense. But saying that all humans are perfect the way they are, that's just some cope, and I do not agree with that, because a lot of us have things like we have to work on things. Okay, I didn't want to go off topic too much. I'm sorry. But back to what I was saying, why I think we should normalize this. I think, okay, like speaking on a global scale now. I know that's a very far fetched, because I was literally just talking about, close one-on-one relationships, like, peers or smaller groups. But now I'm just speaking on a global scale. But if most people did not feel the need they had to adjust or conform to other people's ways or standards of what they think is right and good and, acceptable at least, then I think this world would be much more colorful in terms of how people express themselves, and also in the way we feel, perhaps. I hope that made sense. Anywho, I didn't want to make this video too long, but I think I got here because I was having trouble working on my resume, and literally I was just lying in bed, and I did not have any energy. And then I had this idea. I have no preconception of what I'd like you to be or do, and then all of a sudden I felt like I had to just get up. This was my sign, and now I think I can work on my resume now. This was my motivation thingy. Anywho, we should I think we should spread this more. I know it's not difficult. I know it's not easy to always accept people in their truest, with their truest parts and forms of themselves. And I know it's also, a lot of people do not like to adjust themselves in order to accommodate others. But we need to remember, this world, it does not revolve around us. Well, our minds, our brains, our bodies, and lives, I guess in a sense they do revolve around us. But what I'm trying to say is, nobody really cares about you or me or anyone as much as they care about themselves. And I do not mean that literally, because of course there are people who care about everyone as equally as they care about themselves. Like in the Bible, love thy neighbor as yourself, was it? Well, love thy neighbor, and then yeah. So with that, I'm going to end the video here because I just yapped the last 2-3 minutes. But yeah, thank you for watching.